Hindi mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay Atenista, sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng kwela. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, Katipunero sugod, todo sa kayod, dunong at tulog. Lipat na Blue Eagle, galing giting nagigil. Blue and white, one big fight. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan.
Let us understand mental health and explore how we can take care of our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. Welcome to your weekly slice of mental health tips and tidbits with Pat and B, here on MindEd.
Sa'yo sumisilong kapag ang puso ko'y pagod.
And we are live.
Hello.
Good evening.
Evening.
Welcome to MindEd,
Always
your
caught off
weekly slice of mental health tips and tidbits. My name is B. I am just a letter.
And my name is Pat. I am not a letter. Hello, it's been a week. Yes, we were here last week. Yes, we were. Sorry.
We were.
Okay. That's true. Yes.
Yes.
Hindi, sige.
Haba ba ng
Kamusta
taon
tayo,
mo?
B? Kamusta ka?
Ay, sorry, ng week.
Taon na nga, no?
wall
Parang
to
it feels
wall.
that way sometimes.
Feeling ko talaga isang taon na nakalipas since nagkita tayo. Oh, ano ba nangyari?
Wow.
Ano ba? Sorry kasi sobrang windang din. Had a full
Sige lang.
week. Grabe lang talaga this week. Like, ang dami lang talaga nangyari. I'm not gonna go into details
Work-wise.
because that's boring. It's
Sige.
work.
Oo.
But I just received siguro I think 2 sad news this week na let's just say na parang I have like a close family friend din namin who tested positive. So we're all praying. They had their test this noon, and I think they're waiting for the results tomorrow, hopefully.
Oh, man.
And so puro ganun. I mean, the weeks packed, and then you receive this news where, okay, not a good week. I mean, it could
Does
be better.
definitely throw you off.
It
Yeah.
does. But,
Yeah.
Anywho,
Sige.
parang mas eventful yung
High
life
points
mo.
na lang. High points of the week for you. Sige. Gimme.
But ikaw muna. I'm gonna think pa.
Sige. Okay. Sige. Week in general has been pretty eventful. So, the day I came back from, the day we had the show, I had just come back from an out-of-town trip with my wife and her family. And so, everything was kind of rushed, and I actually wasn't super prepared for the show, pero I was like, sige lang, go lang, ano naman din. We had life lessons from strangers last week, so it was pretty good episode from, yes. Tapos, the rest of the week was parang really just kind of crawling back into what is or what would be my new normal. Hate that term. But new normal instead in terms of not the pandemic, but rather like what the working dynamic is going to be like, given that I have a child now in the house, so
Mhm.
really experimenting with, or really trying to figure out na parang what's the best way to schedule things.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, I had more on this later, pero I had a talk with, or I was a panelist with at this event called Shaping Our Futures from Global Peace Foundation. So they're an NGO,
Nice.
and it was like an event that was towards the UN goals, like sustainable development goals of peace. And we were talking about mental health, and we had, I wasn't the only panelist there. I'll talk about that a little bit more later. So that was a really, really good part of my Saturday. In fact, that was the only part of my Saturday that was work related.
Okay.
And then, such an eventful Monday also. Like,
Okay.
medyo stressful. So I hadn't, hindi ko nare-register kasi yung car namin over. So my car was supposed to be registered last May pa. Because the plate number ended in 5. So ganun yung system eh. Like each, the last number of your plate is when you, corresponds to the month that you're supposed to register. Because Chai didn't want me to be going out plus fresh pa yung pandemic no, hindi na ako nakalabas. So it was only last Monday nakapag-rehistro ako. And it was such an eventful day because I was supposed to have my appointment from 8 to 9 a.m. and that was supposed to be it. But from 8 o'clock, I went to the LTO and I was supposed to do my emission test, but the emission testing place that they nominated, or parang their accredited partner, and alam ko marami naman yun, pero their accredited partner had no internet. So nung pagbalik ko, sabi nila, try mo na lang bumalik after lunch. Sabi ko, I want to get this done. Bear in mind, this is at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I wanted to get it done. Sabi nila, okay, well, we have like the sister branch of this emission testing place is in Mandaluyong. So, coming from Makati, sabi nila, punta ka na lang Mandaluyong, hanapin mo yung emission testing doon. So pumunta ako doon. So pagpunta ko doon, they made me wait for like 30 minutes first kasi puno daw. And then when I was finally able to line up for emission testing, nag-brown out. So parang ako, hihintayin ko ba to bago magka-kuryente ulit?
Okay.
So hinintay ko na konti. Tapos inisip ko, baka naman bumalik na yung internet connection doon sa Makati branch. So binalikan ko yung Makati branch.
Okay.
Tapos wala pa rin. Tapos sabi nung guy doon sa LTO, sabi niya, seems like it's not your day, sir. Well, of course, in Filipino. But sabi ko, no, yeah, it seems like that. But I wonder if there's any other place that I could go. And then he suggested this other place that's like 3 kilometers away from the LTO. And I was just like, okay, just to get it done. So I was gone the whole morning. I was back at home 1 p.m. And I was sorely missing my baby. So, pero natapos ko naman. So, quite the eventful morning. And it was nice to be out. Ish, I don't know. Like,
nice-ish to be out-ish.
Yeah, it felt like what some semblance of normal, except not really. I was super careful. Chai, if you're listening, I was super careful. I did not touch anything or anyone. Even inside the LTO, I was just standing up the whole time. Even if there were chairs na had space, and everything that I sat on, I was Lysoling. So I had a canister of Lysol on the other hand and the pen in the other. So whenever yun lang.
Yeah. Oh, tapos lahat nangyari yan morning.
Morning lang.
Oh, wow.
Plus, I had a meeting with supervisor. Pero nangyari pa rin in the car while I was getting emission testing.
Okay.
So you could say that that's not necessarily like a high, like super celebratory point, but it was eventful, so I consider it a high point. So,
Yay.
Ikaw, high point, give me some.
High point. Okay, very simple lang. You know how I disabled my work email and my work chat thingy on my phone? It's a week na. It's been a week. I'm surviving.
Nice. Okay. Hindi ka naman na nakakaroon ng maliliit na mga anxiety attack pag nakikita mo na dami mo ng notifs?
No, but what I do, kunyari, di ba, lunch. So, para ako nasa, like, an office setting. Kasi at tagal ko lang tagal kong work from home setting. Even before this pandemic thing, ganun na yung yung takbo nung everyday ko eh. So, nawala sa sistema ko yung lunch break. Nawala sa sistema ko yun. Yung mga tipong what break? Ganyan.
Right.
Or what lunch. Ganyan. So,
Yeah.
ngayon, parang na-establish ko siya na, of course, yung mga tao kasi dito sa bahay, very, parang medyo strict din. Like, we
Strict.
follow the pag sinabi mong
routine-wise.
noon, yeah,
Uh-uh.
it's lunch. Ganyan. So, what I do, I keep it talaga, parang I cherish that hour break. And then pagka, okay, sige, I have to prepare na for the meeting, ganyan. And then it's only when I come back on my laptop, and then parang, okay, I see the messages during the break.
Yeah.
Which is okay. I mean, I'm fine. This is me trying to convince
This is
myself that
better.
we're fine.
I think I
And it
honestly,
is.
objectively think that this is better.
Yeah.
Sabi din ni Les, he should do the same. Yes, Les. I
Yes,
agree.
Les, you should do the same. If you can, you should. Okay. Yeah, so I think that's a pinaka, like, it's a little high, I guess, kasi
Yeah.
I'm also establishing another adjustment.
Mhm.
Kasi when the quarantine came, kahit na work from home,
Mhm.
hindi rin kami nakakalabas to meet like people.
Right.
So ngayon lahat virtual, and yun yung medyo nakakapagod kasi din, since you're so accessible all the time.
Yeah.
Kaya yun, so I decided to ano muna, pause muna, like
Good.
I
Good.
need space. Yun nga lang, parang, that being said, I don't receive emails and I don't get notifications about emails, about yung mga messaging stuff namin kahit na gabi na, super late in the evening. So, I'm so sorry, Paris. Hindi mo lang ako makasagot sa iyo lang kami. Bukas ng umaga na lang kayo. And I'm an early riser naman eh.
Right.
So, I usually wake up 6:30, ganyan, do all my
Mhm.
morning stuff, and then I start working at 7:30. Ganyan.
Yeah.
So, okay
Ang
na
galing,
rin.
parang, if you think about it, you've kind of found this management strategy, like self-management strategy, and it's working out for you. And that kind of reminds me of the fact that, or I guess I'm a little mindful of the fact that the first quarter, I think, of the Ateneo academic calendar is about to finish or has just finished. So I'm curious as to I'm wondering if like all of the students have done or have been able to do the same thing. I'm remembering now we were talking to Maxine a handful of episodes ago, na parang, and we caught up with her once, and she was doing pretty okay. That I wonder about everybody else. Ikaw ba? You have may kinukwento ka sa akin kanina about like the teacher side of things. So
Yeah.
what's the kwento there?
The kwento there, I don't know if my sister is watching. Pero kasi exams nila ngayon, so exam week nila ngayon.
Right.
My sister is a grade 2 teacher in Montessori. Parang type of school or setting, yan.
Yeah.
So pagka grade 3 ka, pa-explain ko sa kanya kanina, pagka grade 3 ka, hindi pa, I guess, equipped yung sistema ng mga bata to like do the click thing lang, ganyan. So it has to be supervised. So imagine mo, ngayon ata yung third day na naririnig ko siya, parang dinidictate every item of the exam, of the questionnaire. For all of the subjects. Kasi yun nga, grade 2, I think, siya magtuturo na lahat
siya
ng
yung
subjects.
lahat. Yeah.
And then, she had to do it twice in a day because yung class niya, hinati rin sa dalawa para matutukan talaga every student.
Oh, man.
So, imagine mo, parang, I
Nakakapagod
cannot.
yan.
Talaga nakakapagod. Okay, my sister said, yes, I'm here. Hi, Anne. I am so proud of what you're doing now. I mean, grabe yung tiyaga. And since you're talking to kids and kailangan sobrang clear ng words mo. As in, project din yung voice niya.
Right.
You know how tiring that is to
Of course.
have your voice
Teacher
project.
voice.
The teacher voice, kahit nakaupo ka, buti sana kung nakatayo ka, medyo makakapaglakad ka pa, you have the energy. It's like doing a live show, di ba? You get the energy from your audience. Ito naman, you get the energy from the kids. Right? Pasagot ako.
Yes, ideally.
Yeah. And then yan, so parang isip mo na, paano kung hindi maayos yung internet ng bata? Or paano kung ikaw mismo as a teacher, biglang, oops, sige, flaky yung internet. Oh no, cancel ang exam, 100 na tayong lahat. So
man.
so kasi we've heard we've heard the perspective of the students thanks to Maxine. Shout out to Maxine and
Hi.
her dad.
Yes,
Sir
also.
Gino, for the perspective of the parents, but we haven't actually heard this perspective of the school.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
So it's a timely thing, and also I was talking about the event that I was part of last Saturday. I met one of the other panelists. Some of the other panelists I've already met. So I met with Jean Goulburn before of the Natasha Goulburn Foundation, the administrators or the founders of Hopeline in the Philippines. And the other panelist, who is our guest today, is Father JBoy. So Father JBoy, are you around? If you're here, pakigalaw yung baso.
I already unmuted myself.
Pwede mo na din tanggalin yung video.
Let's do the
Yan.
camera.
Hey!
Father JBoy.
Hi,
Welcome.
Hello,
So
I'm
Father
excited to
JBoy
be
is a
here.
man of many accolades, but first and foremost, he is Associate Director of the Senior High School of the Ateneo de Davao University. But
Okay.
Father JBoy, before ka namin kamustahin, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
About myself, what do you want to know?
Uh,
Which aspect?
height, weight, joke lang.
Don't joke about. I think what is relevant for our show today is that I'm an administrator, and my work is not really in the academics. I'm in the academic side, the non-academic side. My title really is I'm the assistant director or assistant principal for formation in the senior high school. But now I have a bigger job because it will now include the whole university. Imagine from grade school and graduate school. With a basic question, the basic question that I'm supposed to work on is that how are you going to transmit the identity of the Ateneo to our students who are, in an online platform? Pag ganun kasi, pag online, alam mo, parang UE, parang open university. It's very academic, di ba? You get all the assessments, all the learnings, all the lessons. But then, to transmit a culture, to transmit a prayer life, to transmit values, that's pretty difficult. That's very, very challenging. So that's exactly my job. In other words, I have to take care of my students far beyond their academics. That's why even mental health is really primarily my concern, because it is, school is not just it is not just the academics, what you learn in the classroom. In fact, there are many learnings that a student get outside of the classroom. And so now that everyone's online, what will happen about those learnings? For example, how are you going to give them leadership, opportunities? Yung mga ganyan, when they're at home. How are we going to do our immersions when they can't go to those areas or those things? Those are primarily my concern. So that's my job today. Hi guys, I have other things.
May YouTube channel yan si Pads. So follow niyo siya. Ipa-plug natin yung social media mo later, Pads. Pero I mean, that's such an interesting take on formation in school now. And I can't imagine that that's something that we needed to think about even just a year ago.
Yeah.
Diba? Parang generally, yes, culture and formation or culture formation and culture and values like imbibing or into students is something that generally we really think about. But through online, parang sobrang out of this world siya before.
Yeah.
But now it's something that we really need to focus on. And so I guess this is my kamusta question. Like, how are you? What does the past week looked like for you, having to do that or having to take that on?
I always have a very busy day. Tulad kanina talaga. Hi guys, alam nyo ba, confession. muntik ko nang makalimutan ko yung itong guesting na to. Kung hindi ko kinuha yung medicine ko kasi I'm diabetic. Kasi dinner time na, we just finished our mass. And then, nakita ko yung message ni Bian. Kung hindi ko nakita yung message ni Bian, oh no, ngayon pala yun. So, kasi sunod-sunod talaga, I just taped for my, there's a video that we're preparing. It's about video games and even addiction because it's rising. Because, everybody's online, that's why,
Right.
But at the same time, it's also exciting because video gaming is now getting into what we call esports. And sa school namin, may esports na. At sabihin ko sa iyo, parang tinumog kami ng estudyante. Nag-video naman ng video games. Of course, di ba?
Right,
So,
right.
pero it's really new. So, kailangan namin isipin yung parameters ng what does it mean to become part of esports. So, dapat ba may parental supervision? Kasi nga, baka maging addictive sa kanila,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yung mga ganun type. So it's really, really exciting because it's a new adventure.
Right.
Sinasabi ko it's a new adventure. Hindi pwede kang, pag-adventure, hindi kaya pwedeng tatanga-tanga kasi baka mamaya mahulog ka, di ba? Kung ano gusto mong gawin, di ba? Sometimes you just have to plunge. Yan ang aking araw-araw. Kaya lang, to me, I mean, as you can see, I'm excited about new things. I've always been open to experimentation because malay mo, you can get, you can learn from a lot of things, di ba?
Yep.
And we've learned a lot of things. Maybe mamaya pwede tayo magkwentuhan kung ano yung mga bagong mga bagay na lumalabas.
Wow.
Sure.
Nakakatuwa naman. But I will not deny that, no, this is not the toxic positivity. Bakit tipong dinideny yung pain? No, mahirap. Sobrang hirap. Pero meron ka rin makikita baka makakatulong sa ating future. So ganon.
Absolutely.
I still alive.
Yes, you are.
No,
We
it
are
looks-
still alive.
You do seem very alive, so I'll give you that. Pero it seems like such a dynamic role in terms of, what are the scopes, or what's the scope, or what's the limitation to the things that you do. Pero I guess that's something that excites you then. So
Yeah.
cool. Okay.
Yeah.
And I also want to... Yeah. Okay,
Sorry,
pero
ano yun, Pads?
I also want to say na...
Sino muna?
Ano?
Si Pat, sorry, ulit. One more.
Sige. If you're asking about the scope,
Yeah.
my work is with guidance. So the guidance or wellness, I'm in charge of the campus ministry, and then all the immersions, and then all the student activities, arts and culture, sports. We designed the leadership development program, and then finally the prefect of discipline. So 8 offices under me.
Wow. Okay. My gosh.
Ang
Bia, sorry, you were
dami,
saying
no?
something.
No, it was actually... I have to say, grabe yung... I like the term na ginamit ni Father kanina, it's a culture. So it's like you're developing an entirely different culture online. Kasi iba yung takbo ng isip mo online. Like yun I know games can be addictive kasi we have studies about that, di ba, na parang how video games can trigger certain stimuli in the brain. So paano mo nga yung kinokontrol, Father? Do you have a team working with you to sort of identify yung mga problem points or how you're gonna navigate your way through all these programs?
Well, I have a team. I have a formation team. So the members of the formation team are the heads of the guidance, campus ministry, all of those offices. But I think part of it is really to develop a culture of teamwork. Kasi sa maraming mga schools, parang lagi silang tawag namin sa Bisaya, ija-ija. Ija-ija means island, kanya-kanya, diba?
Yes.
Kanya, ibang program ng campus ministry at pero we have developed a culture where we get to see that we are in one team. Kailangan namin magsama-sama. So for example, may marinig kaming kay chismis man lang ng isang bata na yung kaibigan niya parang na-addict na sa online gaming, for example. I-check namin unang-una ang grades. Kasi tawag dyan, presenting problem. Okay, di ba? Pag bumabagsak yung grade, nagpa-plunge na siya, i-check mo rin yung attendance. Kahit online, mati-check mo yung attendance because all the the class moderators, even the academic personnel like the teachers, subject teachers, they check attendance, di ba? So makikita mo kung are they still there or not. Okay, mahirap yun eh. So kung medyo nag-absent na siya, kailangan mong tanungin kung anong nangyayari sa kanya. So we have developed that system na kailangan namin kumustahin ng mga bata kahit pa paano. That's part of what we call our cura personalis. We've got to care for them. So we will call na the parents or the guardian, all of those to get to know what's happening in their homes, ganyan. From there, we get to refer people, like our students, they get to see their personal guidance counselor in school because we have 7 guidance counselors, na may assignment talaga sila kung sino yung babatayan nila. Pagkatapos noon, once na-counsel ng guidance counselor, kailangan i-refer kung kailangan i-refer, di ba? Kapag hindi mo kaya, kailangan i-refer. Pero tumutulong yung ibang offices. For example, ang campus ministry, nagbibigay din ng parang counseling for hope. Alam ganon. Usually mga bata, pag nag-isolate sila because of video gaming, ganyan-ganyan, baka you can also check their involvements. Halimbawa, may club ba sila? May friends ba sila? Ganyan-ganyan. Baka dahil doon, nag-isolate. Baka kailangan, yung mga ganun, you develop a system but within the team. It's, as I've said, it is a culture that you develop. That hindi pwedeng, in a setting like this, you cannot be on your own. I think mahirapan ng maraming schools na nasanay na kanya-kanya. So yun, Bian. Kaya ba?
Ang dami actually factors. Ay, actually gusto ko rin yung sinabi yung Father na teamwork. Yeah. Kasi rin yun parang yun din Father, paano yun? Internally, yung team ninyo. Kasi syempre, sanay kayo na parang okay, pagka may meeting, syempre, kamustahan, ganyan, may ganyan na muna. Do you still get to do that even with like video conferences?
Oh, yeah. Actually, we use Zoom. Okay. Yun ang una, we use this platform because it's easier for us. But I think one of the questions that you can ask is, how did we prepare for online? Alam mo ba na 2 years ago, I already introduced an app. It's called Slack. Slack was introduced to me by Jesuits kasi nga, I'm part of the Jesuit networking team all over the world. And I was part of that team who will announce who will be the next general. So, ito na di ba? Si Sosa, our general. Yes. I was if I remember it right, I was in Dubai. And so, I was introduced to Slack and we would communicate there, etc. And then from there, I began to realize that if I will use Slack, it would be easier for us to communicate even in the workplace. At any time, di ba? So, hindi ka lagi nagtatawagan, hindi you have to reduce emails na hindi mo makaka-follow up kung ano nang nangyari. We used Slack 2 years ago. And eventually, nag-online, nag-pandemic, Slack was very much help for us. Kasi doon na nag-update kami lahat. So, pag nag-meeting kami, ang iksi ng meeting namin, as in, dapat regular namin, 2:30 to 4 o'clock. Sometimes hindi kami umabot ng 4 o'clock. Kasi nga, di ba, I also have to take care of my people.
Yes.
Kung ang mga bata kailangan reduce ang kanilang screen time, we have to avoid online fatigue. Then you also have to avoid online fatigue with your co-workers, di ba? For the teachers. Kasi pag inalagaan mo yung teachers, naalagaan mo yung estudyante. Pag gusto mong alagaan yung estudyante, kailangan mo ang teachers. Alam mo yun, because they're the first line. So ganun ang ginagawa ko. Communication is very important. This is how I think what we learned. That it is a paradigm shift. Because of the pandemic, we're suddenly thrown into a world where we're all not together. But we are connected, di ba? We are connected. We are isolated in our homes. We are safe at home. Okay, we are safe at home. We need to be connected, but work has to continue, di ba? So, a communication system greatly helps, I tell you. Or else, if you do the old way, mamamatay ka sa emails, sangkaterbang emails, at hindi mo alam kung ano na yung na-follow up, ano yung nagawa na. So, an app can help. Discord can also help.
Yes.
So I use Discord also. So
Cool si Pads,
our
ah.
apps,
Alam mo
you
ba kung
know,
ano yung Discord, D?
Oo naman, may Discord kaya ako. Gusto mo doon tayo mag-usap.
sige. Nakakatawa. So,
Nag-game na daw.
so yun. So I think
Okay.
that helps. I mean,
Opo.
Yeah.
Meron ako na-recommend sa inyo offline, Father, na na parang Slack din.
talaga.
And it's friendlier. It's what we use also. Eh. Kasi yun nga, ganun
Hello
din
ba
eh.
to?
Same, no, sige, sabihin na natin, it's Basecamp.
Basecamp.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Para siyang para rin siyang Slack. Okay, nag-shift na tayo. Pero para rin siyang Slack and Trello and Microsoft Planner
Teams.
combined.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kala ko Teams.
Yun din
Okay.
siya. So, maganda rin siyang tracker. And then, it's kind of like Mondays, but para ako, I like how we navigate things sa Basecamp. Kasi meron ding mga rooms doon that you can, like, things that you can micromanage, things that you can macro-manage, and then you have like a to-do platform kung ano yung para sa'yo at ano yung mga inassign mo.
Right.
So, very siya ganun. So, yeah,
But
it's
if you're an administrator, you've got to be very prudent. You cannot just introduce all of this right away because everyone is adjusting to an online
May
platform.
adoption time pa.
Ang dami nang pumapasok sa kanila na kailangan nilang matutunan in terms of technology.
Right.
If you
Ayun, Father.
know any of this, they'll be one. So, kumbaga timpla-timpla kung kailan. Kaya nga siguro maswerte na ako kasi nagsimula kami 2 years ago pa.
Yan.
Panay na yung team ko. Alam mo yun?
Yan naman. Oo.
One of the things that I keep thinking about is that this would have been super helpful at the start pa lang, not even the start of the pandemic. Pero kasi when I think about like the whole online culture now, the online culture has been around
Since early, wala ka na naman, Patrick. Yeah, okay. It happens. Yeah.
Pa ako. Sige.
Yeah, there we go.
It's almost it's like one of the things that I've been advocating for whenever I would be, talking to parents or I've been talking to school administrators is it's really it's learning how to guide the young people into how to have sort of like an online etiquette. Kasi I mean, we'd always talk about it before, or it was always something that was at the top of our heads, but it was never something that we really like focused on. And for you guys to be doing it now is, I gotta say, like, it's not too late. It's not even like better late than never. I'm just glad that you guys are around, or that's something that you guys are focusing on. So definitely, I think this is best practice stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, we have a course. It's called the Leadership Development Program. It used to be the homeroom, so anybody can do a homeroom, At saka yung experience ko sa mga homeroom, parang ano bang logic ng binibigay sa homeroom? Parang wala lang, di ba? May mga reflection, mga kumbaga, anong stuff ang kailangan doon. So, sayang yung opportunity. So, a homeroom, session is around an hour and a half. Saka, nandun sa home din yung mga plano ka ng parties, yun ang dati, no? In the old normal. So,
Right.
So what we did is that the 30 minutes will be all about the announcements. Kasi academic announcement, environmental, etc. Do na. Pag business. But I have 1 hour. So every so 1 hour per week. Sayang yun. So I personally, I have a bias in terms of leadership development. What I really want is transformative leadership, where it's not dictatorial. I hate dictatorial. But you're like a conductor in an orchestra. That's still music, di ba? Yeah. Where every
music pa rin.
you just make sure that everybody's working together and that there's music being created. Alam mo yun? So everybody's empowered. So ganung klase yung So the basis for leadership is really EQ. So part of EQ, doon mo namin binibigyan sa mga bata yung life skills, social skills, adjustment skills, all of those, introduction to the values of the school, yung mga ganyan, relationship, social skills. Part ng social skills is the netiquette. Yung ganon. And then part ng disciplinary system namin is to also see how we work in social media. So, kahit yung mga bata, kapag hindi maganda yung nakikita namin sa Twitter nila, pagsasabayan namin sila. So wala na kami yung dati na wag mong i-add yung bata sa social media mo. Kasi pag gano'n, hindi mo malalaman kung ano nangyayari doon sa bata, di ba? Minsan nakikita namin yung naglalabas sila ng mga kung ano-anong minsan parang depressive yung linalabas nila ganyan. Baka mas maganda kumustahin yung bata, baka mamaya kung ano nangyayari. Di ba? Sometimes kids, di ba, that's where they place all of their it's also good for guidance. But we have to teach even the teachers to be ethical in social media.
Kasi pati din sila minsan
Alam mo, kasi I'm in senior high school, bago ang mga teachers, konti lang yung gap nila. Kasi imagine, nag-graduate itong mga to without the senior high school. So they graduated when? Around 20, 21 years old, 22, ganyan. And then suddenly you have the senior high school. And senior high school means that they're 16 to 18 years old. O imagine kung bata ka teacher, konti lang naman difference, mga 4 years. Diba? So we're also educating the teachers, we're also educating the students. I'm not saying that we're successful because it's an ongoing thing. Alam mo yun? Little by little, you have to remind them, little by little, ganyan. And if there is feedback, you include the way they do social media. They cannot say, it's my space. No, it's public space, diba? So, so those are the things that we do. Creating a culture means educating both the adult community. So ito yung administrators, ito yung and also the students, para everybody in the community takes on kumbaga value system. Marami din akong mali, ha? So we learn from many of our mistakes.
Like what? Joke lang siya.
Ako na.
Offline
daw. Ako dahil dyan. Kaya,
let's not go there.
Let's not go there.
Naisip ko lang, Pads, parang like, the whole transition from offline to online, especially from a formation standpoint, and even, just from like a technical, like educational system standpoint, must have been really rough. And so given that we've gone through maybe a full semester's worth of schooling, what are we learning from, the time that has passed?
There are a lot of things. The first thing is that I think people have learned that our world is not static. It is dynamic. It moves, di ba? And then you have to move with you have to go with the flow. Or else you'll be prehistoric, But it is not new in a sense. In Ateneo de Davao, going online has already been on the table. They said that 2009 they began planning that we go online. Except that you need a time when it can be pushed, or else everybody will be reacting, di ba? Then came the pandemic.
Eto na.
Eto na, let's go. Let's go. So, there will be, indeed, we've gone through a lot of adjustments, a lot of pains, a lot of struggles. I tell my students, guys, we love you so much that if you are struggling, the more we're struggling, don't you know? Just preparing for your formative assessment and summative assessment. Do you think that is easy? Because how do we know that you're not cheating in the first place? Yeah. So we just have to trust you, that now your future is in your own hands. You can learn from us, or you don't learn from us, but we can't rescue you anymore like before. There is no external factor that would push you to study. For example, there is no teacher around who will say, nag-aaral ka na ba o hindi? Di ba? When you're in a physical school, natatakot ka pa sa teachers mo, so you've got to study or else. Okay, natatakot ka ma-prefect of discipline, di ba? O maraming ganon, di ba? So, there are many, sabi nga ng estudyante ko, formative assessment, so hindi siya graded. Sabi ko, yes, hindi siya graded. So, bakit namin gagawin siya? Ako, anak. Sabi ko, may maraming mga bagay hindi kailangan graded. For example, pag nagpa-practice ka ng sayaw, kailangan bang i-grade namin yung pagpa-practice mo sa sayaw? So, no. So, ba't ka nagpa-practice ng sayaw? Sabi niya, para magandang performance namin sa stage, Father. Exactly. Yung performance mo sa stage, yan ang summative assessment. You will be judged by people because of your performance. But your practice, that's your formative assessment. You do it. Sabi nga dito sa Ateneo de Davao, I don't know Ateneo de Manila or other Jesuit schools. But what I know at Ateneo de Davao, we tell them, you can take your formative assessments repetitively. Kasi parang quiz. Tapos, merong mga hindi mo alam, di ba? So, mali ka. Pwede mo namang i-repeat, di ba? Hanggang makuha mo. So, pag-aaralan mo kung ano yung nakuha mo, it is not graded, but it is recorded. Alam bakit recorded? Kasi the teacher has to monitor whether you're doing your job or not.
Yeah. Yes.
Because takot ang teacher na kapag nag-summative ka na, alam niyo, yan na yung grade mo eh. Di ba? Do or die. So, takot ang teacher na magbagsakan ka, di ba? Ayaw namin na bumagsak ang estudyante. Akala mga estudyante, gusto namin na bumagsak sila. Ang di nila alam, ayaw namin kung yung mga estudyante dito, ayaw namin kayong bumagsak. Alam mo bakit? Matrabaho sa amin. Aside from, of course, love namin kayo. Pero matrabaho, isipin mo, we will do another exam just for you. Di ba? So, ganyan.
Yeah.
Pero, ayaw namin ikaw mabagsak. Kaya, sabi ko sa kahila, anak, gawin niyo yung mga formative assessments para hindi ka mamatay pagdating ng summative. Why? The summative assessment, those are, whatever you'll find in the summative, are what you will find in your formative. Kasi ganun yung design. So, hindi ka So, ngayon, what has changed is that the center of your motivation is not anymore something that is external or out of fear.
Yeah.
Now, what is challenging is that your motivation comes from you. You determine your life. You determine your future.
Mm-hmm.
So, those people who will survive online are those people who really want to graduate, who really want to know, who really want to pass the course. Mm-hmm. So, yun lang but of course, again, if you have to change behavior, there will be a time when there's a push and pull. There's a tug of war in you.
Situation,
parang nag-gym ka lang. May mga oras ayaw mag-gym kasi masakit. Pero kailangan mo kung may goal ka talaga para, gumanda yung kawan mo. Alam mo ganon?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Grabe, Father, I only
Sige,
pray. I only pray na yung mga teachers and yung mga formators na katrabaho ni Father JBoy has the same energy and enthusiasm.
Nice.
Kasi I can imagine like yung gravity of work na kailangan, kumbaga it changes a classroom setting kasi parang inisip pa natin, okay, we can probably talk about classroom management, but right now it's not just about classroom management, parang even yun, you have to redefine it because you have to take care of the child or the student in a holistic manner, hindi lang basta grades or anything. Meron talagang kaakibay na parang goes beyond grades or beyond like test papers and stuff.
Yeah. That's true. The teachers, talagang ang dami lang ginagawa. To me, minsan nakakaawa na, di ba? Kasi imaginein mo lang na hindi ka talaga handa. No one has been ready. Okay? Again, we were all shocked by suddenly we are in ECQ. And then suddenly we have been thinking, anong mangyayari? Kasi that was March, right? So what will happen to the next year? Well, it is not just the next year. Nung March, ang una mong isipin, ano mangyayari nung summer? Magkakaroon pa ba tayo ng summer? So ganun. You've got to think right away. You've got to be very decisive. Hindi ka maghihintay sa ibang schools kung ano gagawin nila. Ikaw mismo mag-iisip ka agad. Kung you're an administrator, ba't ka maghihintay sa Ateneo de Manila in the first place? Hindi naman ang Ateneo de Manila nasa Davao, di ba? Iba yung context ng Davao where Thai people, as I've said, we're Muslim, Christians, Lumans. Hindi tulad ng Ateneo de Manila, maraming in terms of the economic they're all in the higher echelons of society. I have a lot of scholars, for example. You don't wait for other schools. You have to be very decisive. Good for us. Our president, Father Joel, is very, very decisive. So March pa lang, naisip na namin, online na tayo. Kasi kung mag-push to, tapos syempre vaccine, mapoproject mo naman eh.
Yeah.
Di ba? Mapoproject mo naman eh. So, mag-go online na tayo. So yun. So ang dami mong gagawin kasi first, it's a paradigm shift. Even psychologically, a paradigm shift is not easy. Okay? Di ba?
Yeah.
Psychological pa lang yun.
Yeah.
Wala pa doon yung physical work.
Yes.
Kasi you will redesign your lessons for online.
Yeah.
It is not a transference. Many teachers, many schools, they just transfer their old normal to an online platform. Hindi eh.
Hindi pwede ganun.
Hindi kakayanin.
Diba?
Imagine sa physical classroom, you talk to them for what? In one period, 45 minutes, di ba? Or an hour and a half. Imagine speaking for 1 hour and a half in front of everyone or in front of your computer. And then, what? Do the students will be there from 7:45 until 4 o'clock? You know? So, doon pa lang, kailangan mong you have to redesign it. Kikwentuhan ko kayo ng isang redesigning for online. Yung retreats, recollections. Imagine, a retreat means 3 days. Or a recollection is 1 day. Do you think I have to hold my students for one day? No. So what we did is that we decided in such a way that there is all the reflection points are done prior to the session of the retreat. So malayo pa, binibigay na namin sa kanila yung activity. For example, binigay ko na to sa aking YouTube channel. Nax! Meron ko.
Plug natin.
Okay. So halimbawa, meron kaming gratitude jar. Sa gratitude jar, you put in 1, things you're grateful for. Second, your sorry or your regrets. And then third, some behavioral change because you're at home. So, naglalagay ka nun araw-araw, di ba? Kung titingnan mo, those are topics in a retreat. May isang module on gratitude, another module for forgiveness, another module for discipleship, di ba? Pero hindi mo pwedeng gawin yun ng 1 day in front of the computer. You can give them to them. The questions are about those 3, di ba?
Yeah.
But then, the sharing happens in another session.
Yeah.
So, 1 hour na lang kami nagsisession. So, 1 hour na lang ang recollection. Pero you have developed a habit. Imagine kung mga 2 months, naglalagay na sila doon isa-isa. You have developed a habit of the examen, ang tawag namin. Di ba yung examen? That the person learns to be grateful for every single day. You have developed a habit where they can be resentful for the things that they have not done. And then you have a habit of them reflecting on knowing what you're grateful for and knowing the things na kulang. Baka pwedeng ito yung behavior ko ngayon. Dati ini-snub ko yung mami ko. Ngayon nakikita ko lahat ng dinadaanan niya. So pag sabi siyang, anak, pwede ka ba maghugas? Makikita ko na yung sarili ko na hindi na ako nakipag-away sa mami ko. Kundi, okay po mami. So naghugas ka na. Those are behavioral changes which you cannot get in a one-day recollection.
Right.
Yeah.
You have developed a habit that in a way that helps people even mentally. They can be mentally healthy because the idea of gratitude, diba? Develops a more positive way of looking at life. And then you get to see a way of looking at growth because of the things that you have not done. And then at the same time, a way of assessing yourself in terms of your behavior vis-a-vis relationship with others. Di ba ganun? You have developed that already just with one activity. Yeah. So you've got to think online. You cannot imagine teachers doing that. So yun. So we have many. Ang dami kong kwento about how we have helped teachers. Okay. Even sa yung mental health. May teachers, meron kaming tawag namin ay nurturing spaces. So the teachers go through parang ganito, sharing. Pagkatapos magkakwento lang sila kung anong nangyayari sa kanila, parang outlet ganyan. Pero naman meron naman kaming konting structure. Na hindi lang guide, di ba ganyan. Then you know what we discovered? Ang daming mga teachers nagpapasalamat sa amin kasi ang ganda ng feeling daw nila na unang-una, they're not alone. Di ba?
Yeah.
There's a shared pain, a shared struggle, ganyan. It helps them. And then second, because teachers are sharing, they get to learn from from other teachers what they're doing na more or less best practice ng kanilang kapwa teachers. So ganyan. And then you develop a community. You know, ang daming tragedies in life. Ang sagot dyan ay community helping each other, di ba? So we have a nurturing space for teachers. Meron din kami tinatawag namin caring circles. Nax! Parang feeling lang. Caring circles basta more spirituality. You know, where you develop values like hope, values like you know, we're doing this for the country, for our students. Those aspirations of service, diba, that you're in a way you're influencing other people's lives, and to continue to get that energy. I think those are some of our experiences helping out teachers who were really very, very kumbaga stressed out. So, ganyan.
So the key things that I'm picking up here are that, number one, it's so important to do values education, not just for the students but for the teachers also, because you know, in an uncontrolled or uncontrollable environment, there's so many directions a person, especially a student, can go in terms of, you know, what they pick up from other people, their colleagues, strangers online even. And so it's important for us, you know, not just the administrators and not just the teachers, but even the parents, to really, you know, focus on the growth and development of the child or of the student or of the young person in general, in growing in a way that is aligned to what a proper moral human being should be. Second thing I'm picking up also is that it's not just about like moving whatever it is that you've had offline to online, because it's not that simple.
Yes.
Yeah. It's also impossible actually.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Technology is just one of them, I tell you. Of course, there's a very steep learning curve for many of the digital immigrants. Many of the teachers are digital immigrants. Mga kaedad ko, siyempre, I'm from 1968. I'm 52, going, you know, ganyan. Yung mga kaedad ko na so, maraming adjustments nung ganon. So, but it's not just learning technology. Technology is a means. Diba? With technology are other things that would create some stress in an individual, in an administrator, or in a teacher, or in an adult in the school. But I think what guides us actually, you know, my best friend, he's the president of Ateneo de Davao, Father Robert Rivera. Meron sabi ni Father Robert, isa sa mga, like, wait, Chong, gusto ko talaga yung sinabi mo. Sabi niya, yung isa ng mga values na parang binago niya yata sa Ateneo de Davao because of the pandemic. He said, the first thing that you need is compassion. Kailangan mong isipin yung mga taong sisilbihan mo. So, because you love them so much, that you adjust to them, di ba? Parang love lang yan, di ba? Next, love life na! Love life na! Di ba?
Compromise.
Nag-adjust sa taong mahal mo, di ba? Hindi mo siya hinihintay na mag-adjust sa'yo. Ikaw nag-adjust ka niya. Katapos doon, mag-adjust din siya sa'yo. Ganun naman yung push and pull of love. Next! Pero it's really important for you to imagine. May estudyante ako na yung bahay niya nag-iba kasi nga because of the earthquake. So, ano nang gagawin namin? Dati online siya. So, modular ang gagawin namin. Di ba? So, madali ka mag-shift na yung mga estudyante hindi pwede, mag-modular ka. Yung pwede mag-online, di mag-online ka. Yung part of your heart, for example, di ba? Meron kaming mga estudyante with very special abilities, you know. So they cannot be online. Mahirapan sila. So we have to tell the parents na, ma'am, medyo mahirapan siguro yung anak nyo. Pwede naman na mag-modular. So we also do those follow-ups. So you cut out your programs according to your students. Compassion ang tawag doon. Diba? And then the second thing, sinasabi niya, you've got to be courageous. Yun nga, hindi ka pwede papatay-patay. Kung magkamali, okay lang. Yun ang gusto ko kang sabihin sa mga tao. Alam niyo yung mga teachers ninyo, they're very courageous because they will just think of whatever they can do for you. And then if it works, good. If does not work, tell them because they would readily shift. I tell you. Diba? Kasi nga, it's all you eh. So you just have to experiment. So
Yes.
for me, one of the things that I think helped us develop programs is because of our failures. Dito, kailangan mo yung failure. Kung nag-iisip ka ng success, ay, mga chang, baka mamaya mamatay ka lang frustrated. Ganyan. Bantayan nyo yung failures kasi doon mo malalaman kung effective ba o hindi. Di ba? So, ganyan. So, I think you've got to be courageous. You cannot just be like, parang wala lang, wait for everybody else. Because, why am I saying that? Be courageous means that you know the context of your school. That is why, difficult to compare with other schools. Know the context of the school and then just go. You're not doing anything immoral. You're trying to, kumbaga, let your boat sail in a very rough sea. You know, we're all in the same sea, but we're in different boats, di ba? Of course, di ba? Ateneo de Davao is different from Manila. Okay,
Yes.
But you see, the boat is different there. Our boat is also different. So we began early than Ateneo de Manila, but that does not mean that we're far greater and far better.
Right.
Diba?
Yeah.
I think we just have to respond the way we wanted to respond. So we learn more now because we're done with the first sem. At ang daming kailangang gawin. And yung pinaka-huli na is to be creative. You know, creativity will require courage.
Yes.
Okay.
Amen
Diba?
to
Alam mo
that.
naman, Bian yan, Pat.
Oo
Diba?
naman.
Alam mo naman yan. Yes, kaya tayo. Kung hindi tayo courageous at hindi tayo creative, you know, our programs will not reach a lot of people or will not be
Yes.
palatable or attractive to other people because if our look is very traditional, I have nothing against a traditional look, for example. Kasi meron naman mga gumagawa nun. O sila na yung gumawa nun. Dito na tayo sa gusto nating experimental, di ba? Di ba? So, we're not doing anything immoral. We're just experimenting what would work. Because, you know, the Holy Spirit is in all of us. Might as well try it out. So I guess those are the three things that are very important.
Okay. So be compassionate, be courageous, and be creative.
Yeah. Now,
Father JBoy, if there's anything, if people want to learn more from you, how can they find your content or how can they find the things that you're putting out online? Where do they look for you?
well, I have a brand. It's JBoy Gonzales SJ.
Yeah.
JBoy, as in J at saka boy. Walang dasha. JBoy Gonzales.
Gonzales with a
G-O-N-Z-A-L-E-S.
G-A-L-E-S.
D-A-L-E-S-S-J. Yan, SJ.
So that's your Facebook, that's your Twitter, and that's your Instagram.
Instagram, and that's my YouTube
And your
channel.
YouTube also. Okay.
Yes.
Can people reach out to you on email or is that like sobrang puno na ba nun? So wag mo muna.
Medyo yung email kasi dami-dami.
Okay.
Alam mo, madali ako mag-respond. Subukan nyo. Madali ako mag-respond sa lahat ng social media platforms ko like Twitter,
And
Instagram, YouTube. Sumasagot ako sa totoo lang.
Okay.
Kasi nga, yun, I want to reach out to many of my students.
Yes.
Sabi ko nga sa kanila, you don't have to come to me when you're successful. Di ba?
Yeah.
Sure, I'll be very happy to be part of your success, that I'll celebrate with you. But come to me at your worst. You know? Come to me at your worst.
Yeah.
So, sorry. So yun. So, that's why, sabi ko, isang brand lang. JBoy Gonzales SJ. So, madaling matandaan. Or makikita nyo naman kung i-google nyo. I'll be very happy to be of help. Doon
So,
sa
pinag ka din namin eh. So.
Yes. Doon sa YouTube channel, I specifically said, doon sa isang segment, it's called On the Line. Kaya nga On the Line kasi I'm at the other end of the line, parang phone lang.
Yes,
But I'm also online, and when you say leadership on the line, it means you're really navigating through very dangerous waters. So yung ganung klaseng, that's why the segment's called On the Line. I said there, your questions, our answers. Sabi ko, please message me about many of your questions, and then we will do a video for it, because sometimes your questions are also the questions of others. So if we're going to respond to you through a video, nandun na yung psychological first aid. Halimbawa kapag may kung anong mangyari, medyo depression, or kung may suicidal ideation, ang unang tao talagang nakakausap ng bata ay yung barkada niya. So, ibig sabihin, psychological first aid, bigay mo sa mga bata. Nandun na po. So, you'll get to see that. You'll get to see also some tips on how to handle people who have problems, who might need you to listen to them. Don't panic, mga ganon. You'll get to see all of these materials there. There might help. Now, I do not know many of your questions, many of your concerns. So, just message me and I'll do a video for that. Okay? I am not an expert on everything, but I can ask other people like Dian and like Patus here. Okay, then we'll try to help you out. Okay?
Sure.
So
Absolutely. Father JBoy, thank you so much for the wisdom.
Thank you,
We've
Father.
learned so much, and there's so much that other people can stand to learn from you, other administrators, I think also. And we also know that you're a very, very busy person, so we won't keep you for very, very long. But really, we really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Father.
Thank
You're
you so
welcome.
Yeah.
Parang nabitin
Sige.
na ako eh. Ganyan.
Pag gusto mo mag-part 2, pwede tayo mag-part 2. Pwede.
Part 2 tayo, nabitin ako, but yeah.
You were just...
Hindi. Kumustahin natin si Father siguro next semester.
Kung may mga changes or mga na-apply na stuff.
I'm sure may mga bago yan si Father.
Very dynamic. The very dynamic Father JBoy.
Thank you very much.
Alright. Thank you, Father.
B, do you have any announcements? Father JBoy, anything that you want to announce or
Father,
plug
wala.
apart from your social media? Any engagements that are coming up for you in the public?
Wala pa naman masyado. We're trying out a segment that's more cooking. And then from cooking, kasi there are certain things that you can discuss while cooking, di ba?
Totoo naman, actually.
So, let me see. It's experimental. Kaya guys, I tell you, just be courageous, ganyan lang. Okay.
Amen.
But ito, maraming matutulungan ng JESCOM. So thank you for also patronizing our media apostolate, like Radyo Katupunan, like this show. Parang I'm always with my friends when it's JESCOM. So ganyan. Kaya, obvious ba na
Nakakamiss.
hindi nakakamiss.
Actually, yun yung gusto ko kay Father J-Boy. Kasi di ba, Father, you were director of the Jesuit Music Ministry when I was in JESCOM. And we had a lot of mga bonding dun sa office ni Father noon. Mga tigtugan.
Puro kain kasi. Puro kain.
Yes. But ang daming kwentuhan, and then from the kwentuhan nagsaspark yung mga ideas, yung mga projects, and whatever. So ang galing, ang ganda, Father. I hope we get to work with you. Very possible na kasi we have online the platform. Let's do it. Let's plan for something. Of course, pag hindi kayo na masyadong busy, Father.
Hindi kailangan. Alam mo na,
Alright.
yun nga, you will know that I'm not busy because I will say yes. Diba? Or I can just move other things so that I can accommodate you. Diba? Don't worry about whether a person is busy or not. But better ask them. Diba?
Yeah.
For example.
Let's do it. Alright.
B, any announcements on your end or from our case end?
Wala namang binigay. Siguro lang, mag-general hello na lang tayo dun sa comment section.
Sige nga, go nga.
General hello to the comment section. I saw Miss Jen, I saw Angel, I saw
Hi, Kirk.
Lester. Hi, Kirk. Oo, yan.
Hi,
And
Cho.
then, Cholo is
Miss
here.
Benilda Ronquillo, hello. Hi.
Mhm.
And to your sister also. Hi.
And shout out din sa mga teachers natin.
Amen.
And sa
Amen.
school formators
and
natin.
administrators. And our students also.
Whew, kaya natin to, guys.
Happy to-
Hashtag
One quarter
teamwork.
down.
Mhm.
All right, so invite everyone to the Holy Rosary to be led by... Teka, buksan ko yan. Ano sabi? Ano sabi? Wait lang. Hindi ko mabuksan.
The Jesuits.
Led by the Jesuits on Saturday, 8 p.m., coordinated by the Association of the Major Religious Superiors. Okay. Yes, everybody. Holy Rosary at 8 p.m. on Saturday. All right. If nothing else, this has been MindEd, your weekly slice of mental health tips and tidbits. With Father J-Boy, and my name is Pat.
I am D, still a letter.
And we will see you again next week. Yeah. Bye, guys. Father
Bye,
J-Boy, join
guys.
us
Father
with the
J-Boy.
Spirit Fingers.
Salamat po.
Okay, guys.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Justin, that's your cue.
That's the way we're done. Yep. This is still happening. Okay. Are we done?
Let us understand mental health and explore how we can take care of our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. Welcome to your weekly slice of mental health tips and tidbits with Pat and B, here on MindEd.
Sa'yo sumisilong kapag ang